is the most important thing that I've ever said. If you're not paying attention to anything else, pay attention to this. I started doing this because I was you. I was a guy who landed in a functional medicine doctor's office and she said, Matt, you need to be in a sauna like yesterday. Your hair mineral analysis, your blood work, all your labs look terrible. You need a detox. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I'm not paying for all that. I didn't believe in it, right? Part of the reason that it was so difficult for me to believe in sauna and detox is because 7-8 years ago, people and companies were doing things like this to me. I've used all of these things, every single one of them that you guys are asking about. The brands, the models, the different style heaters. I know what they feel like. And I know when you look at a report and there's a 3 to 6% difference in emissivity or micron range, you're not gonna feel it. It's because emissivity and micron range, ready? Drum roll. And you see all these things and it sounds good. It sounds fancy. It sounds better, doesn't it? And you're confused and you can't make sense of it, so it must be good, right? Not always. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time ever in the last 7 years, class is in session. I can't see you guys struggle with this anymore. So we've got infrared sauna micron ranges and emissivity, right? In an infrared sauna, there's generally different types of heaters. This is one of the things that you guys have posted about most recently. And it seems that you're having the wool pulled over your eyes. And there's nothing for sale in this video. I don't want anything out of this other than to help you and continue to see you thrive, not struggle. Because you have analysis paralysis. And you're looking at fancy graphs and fancy marketing reports and fancy things from sauna companies. And you don't really understand what you're looking at. And neither do the salespeople that are talking to you. And I'm going to explain to you why. You look at these fancy reports, right? And it'll have a micron range report or an emissivity report with different values on it. Yes? Then you look at a brochure from a sauna company, right? It'll have a fancy picture, some stuff, a couple bullet points, a link to some graphs. Here, see our third-party test results, this, that, and the other. And you see all these things, and it sounds good. It sounds fancy. It sounds better, doesn't it? And you're confused, and you can't make sense of it, so it must be good, right? Not always. There's a few things here that we need to establish. For one, no one knows what the CMR is or how it's calculated. So everyone wants to have a fancy marketing report that has a micron range listed. Oh, our sauna has between a 7 and 10 MR, right? 9.4, 8 point whatever. Just pick a number out of a hat. Usually what they use is between 7 and 10. That's the micron range that their heaters emit. That's better than the competitors. No one has it, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not talking about just one company. A bunch of companies do this. Maybe Aaron can help fix these lights because this looks bad. But I don't care. The information that you're going to get from this, you won't find anywhere else, okay? Just because I like to make layman term videos so that we don't contribute to your confusion doesn't mean that I don't have a deeper understanding of what's going on. I may not speak in scientific language, but I've used all of these things. Every single one of them that you guys are asking about. The brands, the models, the different style heaters. I know what they feel like. And I know when you look at a report and there's a 3 to 6% difference in emissivity or micron range, you're not going to feel it, right? But you think you and your kids are somehow getting some magical benefit from one brand over another brand. Meanwhile, you don't understand what I'm about to show you, okay? So, you read this report, you listen to the salespeople. The salespeople also are spoon-fed this stuff. They don't even understand. If you ever ask them for a CMR, what's the CMR? They're gonna look at you with deer in the headlights. They will have no idea what you're talking about, right? They get real squeamish and squirm if you push back on any of this stuff. You start asking technical questions, they have zero response. They try to get off the phone, yet they scare you and say that if you buy such and such's company, Sauna, it's not gonna have the right emissivity. it's not going to have the right micron range output. You won't get the benefits. Maybe it'll heat you up and feel nice, but you won't actually get the detox, or you won't actually get the sauna benefits like in the PubMed studies, or blah, 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 blah. Just replace this with whatever narrative of the week they come up with, right? Okay. Now, they'll say 9.4 or 8.7 or 7.6, whatever. Every sauna company has a number that they choose. It's always between 7 and 10. The resonant frequencies of the body, the heaters are a match for, blah, 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 blah. You heard all these pitches. Here's where it gets really interesting though. The marketing material and the sauna salespeople will say, you must have whatever this micron range is that they tout is amazing, right? Or else you don't get the benefits. But if you look at their third-party report, what's happening? What's happening throughout the entire thing? Why do you see different levels on here that aren't static? Why do you see different metrics? Why do you see a rating for this one and a rating for this one and a rating for this one, and they're not the same? It's because emissivity and micron range, ready? Drum roll. Change with temperature and duration of time. Okay? So we also have T and T. Actually, we should separate those. You shouldn't put them together because that will confuse you even more. So we'll just do temperature and time. Now you could exchange temperature for power, current, draw. There's a number of ways that you could monitor or represent this metric. I'm using the end result, which is temperature. Temperature of the heater based on power consumed, based on duration of time that it's been running, okay? So, not to make this super complicated for you, because already the report is complicated for you, but basically, no sauna emits 7 to 10 micron all the time. Even if it's one I like, even if it's one I don't like, even if it's the best one on the planet, or it's the one that so-and-so said you have to have, it doesn't work like that. Okay, that's the whole reason to do this. I don't want to go out and buy a whiteboard, but I'm tired of seeing you guys struggle. Like, I'm tired of seeing you guys manipulated, all right? So what happens? Let's get rid of some of this stuff. Or actually, how low can you see, okay? So a different style graph, when it tests emissivity and micron range, will look like this, okay? What is that? You have your metrics just like the other test, but what you're seeing in the marketing report is between here and here. You guys see that? This is your touted MR, or your CMR, your charted micron range. CMR stands for charted micron range. You won't find this in any reports. It's just a part of the scientific method if you were doing controlled testing in a lab. And none of the salespeople are going to know what this is. So don't bother asking them because they'll look at you like deer in the headlights or just run for the hills. So you're seeing CMR, charted micron range, or charted emissivity range, CER. They're interchangeable because we're just talking about the method of testing, right? We're just talking about, hey, here's an infrared heater that emits waves when connected to, power, right? And in order for it to do its job, it has to consume enough power for a set duration of time in order to heat up and emit said range, right? So that's what this curve looks like. So when you see 7 to 10, you're just looking at the CMR, the charted micron range in the marketing report. You're not looking at, this is when they turn it on, this is when it cools down. This is when it's been on for 15 minutes. My writing is terrible too, so I don't do these types of things. But my intention is good, right? I want to help you. I don't want anything except for you to be able to be informed and make really good decisions for you and your family and not get taken for a ride. If you don't know, I started doing this because I was you, right? I was a guy who landed in a functional medicine doctor's office and she said, Matt, you need to be in a sauna like yesterday. your hair mineral analysis, your blood work, all your labs look terrible. You need a detox. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I'm not paying for all that. I didn't believe in it, right? Part of the reason that it was so difficult for me to believe in sauna and detox is because 7-8 years ago, people and companies were doing things like this to me. Here they are continuing to do the same thing. They've had 7 or 8 years to do anything else. This is bullshit, right? But why would they? It works, right? It sounds plausible. It keeps you in confusion. It keeps you in analysis paralysis. It gives another opportunity for, somebody to talk you into some nonsense, right? So at the 15-minute mark, you're at said CMR or CER, said emissivity range, said micron range. We're not trying to point out a specific value. We're just trying to point out a testing method on how you would evaluate something like this so that you can understand where the flaws are in the information and what you're missing, right? I'm making this up. It's going to vary from sauna to sauna. Let's say at the 25-minute mark starts the CMR, starts the charted micron range, the charted emissivity range, CER. Looks like a B. It's not. And let's say that runs to 55, right? Then what happens? Well, the sauna is approaching an hour, or hopefully if it's a well-designed sauna, it's approaching the thermostat limit. So the thermostat will be hit, the heaters will kick off, and the sauna will what? Begin to cool down. What happens when the sauna cools down? It's no longer operating at the same temperature, same power consumption, same duration, and same power output, right? So if any of those variables change, so does, say it with me, micron range and emissivity. Doesn't matter which one you're testing. These are not static values. Everyone presents it a certain way in a marketing report where if you buy our brand of sauna, you're going to get 7 to 10 MR. And if you buy someone else's, you're not. That is a flawed concept. That is actually misinformation. It's not their fault because they were spoon-fed, right? But it is their fault for not taking initiative and really learning what's going on. Even the best saunas on the planet, even the saunas that do produce the right wavelengths for you, do not emit these 100% of the time. Cross that out. I don't care who tells you what. I don't care if it's a sauna company that I recommend. I don't care if it's someone that I send you to. If anyone tells you anything other than that, they are wrong. They're either intentionally lying to you or accidentally misrepresenting something. That's not how it works, okay? So a lot of the time, you can just throw this out. You can throw how does it go? Something out with the bathwater? I hate that analogy. It sounds dumb if you actually think about it. Like who would actually throw out their whatever? My point is, when you look at these graphs, okay, you'll also notice that here is competitor, right? Here is our entry line. I'm making this up too, and here's our premium line, right? I'm not going to say any brands throughout this video, but if you can read between the lines on the companies, and it's multiple, it's not just one, they're all kind of guilty of the same thing. But I mean, if I was, I don't know, I can't blame them at the same time on the business side because they're trying to differentiate themselves. And there is a differentiation, but it's so minute. It doesn't have the gravity that you guys are making it out to be. There's 30,000 people in my Facebook group, okay? Every single week, the amount of you guys that ask about this and have very convincing testimony or copy and paste messages from sauna people that have emailed or are saying this or doing that, it sounds very plausible, right? Well, how come if I was, evaluating the information that you're putting in there and you're sending me, the competitor over here is only rated at what? 0.92 emissivity or micron range, right? These are arbitrary numbers. I'm making them up. They would change a little bit whether you're talking about micron range or emissivity. It is two different things. But for the purposes of this, evaluating the graph with the third-party reports is much the same, okay? So a competitor's is only 0.92, right, emissive. Our entry level, if you want to buy ours, because it's guaranteed to be more emissive than a competitor, right? And we have third-party proof to ensure that. How emissive is this? We've got a 0.95 rating on that bad boy. 0.95. It is in fact better than 0.92. But how much better, you say? Well, that'd be about a 0.3. Do you see? A 3% difference, you guys, by their own admission. Okay, so a sauna salesperson will take this material that they're given in the brochure, in the marketing, not understanding what the hell they're saying, yes? And come to you and say, well, ours is better and you're gonna get something from that you can't get anywhere else. Really? So by your own admission, I'm gonna get 3% more from you, but you're gonna charge me $2,800 more for the 3% that I'm never gonna feel, right? That's never gonna make a difference in my kid's life. That you're using to convince me, you're saying that my child is not going to get the complete detox or benefits of heat therapy because you're gonna buy something else that's not as emissive as our product. Pretty sleazy, huh? I think so too. Now, let's just say one of these is 0.97 to 0.99. Ooh, you better watch out, baby. Almost 100% emissive. Now we got something we can work with. Now we got something we can hook them with, right? Now, our product is almost 100%. In fact, it's almost 99% emissive. So all the power that goes to those heaters is coming out and going to your body. And no other company can give you that. No other company can give you, what is this? A 0.5. A 5% difference. No other company can give you a 5% difference, yet we're gonna charge you $3,600 this time because I said it was 20-something hundred different before, but that was from our entry level to the competition. Now, you gotta step up to our premium model in order to get from 0.95 to 0.97. 2%, baby. You can't get these benefits anywhere else, right? Obviously, you can see how many times that I've dealt with this, heard with this message, talked to people, responded, written long, lengthy things, and it just goes in one ear and out the other. And I'm not creating this. This is a model of the third-party certificates that you guys are sending me. You want me to evaluate these things. Here it is, right? It's the same for me as it is for you. There's nothing different, right? So is this technically better than the entry-level line? Well, according to them. But if you look at my other videos that I've done on emissivity, especially certain brands where they have, this is one of their back heaters, right? There's one on the left, one on the right, or one in the middle, depending on how wide the sauna or what model you got. But they put LED red lights in the center. So this entire area here is missing far infrared coverage. So if I hired a third-party company to come and test the sauna in its fully assembled state, not just taking one heater out of the sauna and sending it to a lab and cherry picking that heater. If I took the same probe and I put it in the sauna, right? This is the side wall, this is the back wall of the sauna, and this is the side wall, and the door's right here. The bench is right here, and this is where you sit. There's a couple of these in the back. Well, what if I put the probe right here? This entire area is missing far infrared coverage. So how can you say that an average emissivity in a sauna cabin matches the report when you have no evidence of how the report was taken other than knowing that there's a heater hanging in a lab with a probe in front taking the measurement? Do you understand? This is probably going to get a little too complicated for you and something that you don't need to bother yourself with, but I want you to understand that more important than micron range and emissivity is heater layout, okay? I stress this a lot in a lot of videos. People don't understand me though. They think that I'm just saying, oh, you have to buy one sauna because I have some vested interest in, having you do this or do that or whatever. Guys, I don't have a not-for-profit business here, but it's a media business, right? I try to monetize it in every way I can, but I monetize even bad reviews. I don't know if you realize that, but I make money from the bad reviews. Google Shopping Network, sponsored placements, ads, all this stuff. A media business structure is about reach and engagement. It's not necessarily about brands, right? But that's why we use the certified sauna list criteria so that no one can just sneak on by, right? And it's checking things like this. And it's also so no one can talk me into stuff. I'm human too. I make mistakes. I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes in the past. So we have a set of criteria that you have to operate within in order to even qualify, right, to be on the certified sauna list. It's not some gimmick. It's a fail-safe, and it's an integrity based thing. You don't want to mistake integrity for some type of ad thing, because that's not what this is. If there was, there'd be a pitch here. I'd pick out another sauna. I'd say, hey, why don't you buy this one instead of this one because it's better. Da, da, da. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm not making any recommendations in this video. I'm not telling you to do anything. I don't want to sell you anything. Nothing. I just want you to have understanding. Okay. What I want you to understand is this is going to be I'm not a great artist here. This is our sauna, okay? So this is our door. In the sauna, we typically have heaters on the side walls. We've got heaters at the back walls. There's a bench across here, right? Depending on the size of it, we've got heaters. Now, there's a heater in the calf for the legs and all this stuff. And sometimes there's either a heater on the floor or a heater on the side walls. And you see me harp on this over and over and over and over and over. What you'll never know behind the scenes, unless you look at it on a FLIR camera and understand or pay attention to what I'm saying to you, is that you can have a $1,700 Amazon sauna and a $1,700 Costco sauna. And whether I like one or the other better than some other option, or you could throw in Wayfair, you could throw in all these big box stores that have, blah, blah, blah options, right? You could throw whatever mix in here you want. Doesn't matter if I like it, if so-and-so likes it. Doesn't matter if they have some fancy report that says it's 0 EMF, which doesn't exist. If it plugs into a wall, it has some level of EMF, okay? Doesn't matter what they say, all things created equal, what you will feel when you use them and what comes out in my reviews is not whether or not I like the color of it. It's not whether I think it has a beautiful wood. It's not that I think it has beautiful glass or a design or it feels spacious or it has a nice bench or all this other shit, right? It's what is the heater placement in relation to the seated body position, right? I don't know how to, I'm not an artist. I do not know how to draw this, but if you have a person, right, that's in here, and you don't have adequate heat coverage, especially if we're talking about far infrared, right? You're not going to have radiant heat penetration in your tissues, which is causing the vasodilation, which is increasing circulation, which is increasing lymphatic fluid exchange. Everyone thinks that you're detoxing out through your sweat. Only some compounds come out through the sweat, guys. Some pesticides and different compounds like that come easily out through the sweat. Some other particles that are large particles do not come out through the skin. They're too big. Won't make it through the skin pores. So what happens to them? Well, if this is an ecosystem and we have circulation and there's excretory points, pathways, right? We are facilitating what the body already does. They're sending things to the organs for processing, but what everyone is missing, right? And this is one of the benefits over infrared sauna versus traditional, which is why you can do a detox protocol in less time, less temperature with one of these. What everyone is missing, right, is that an infrared sauna is helping remove things that are sequestered in your adipose tissue, right? That's why you use a sequestering agent. I may have said that wrong, but you understand what I'm saying. The point of an infrared sauna and getting radiant heat on the tissues, a la heater layout, matters more than micron range and emissivity, which is why I know I don't do a great job. I'm not like a camera guy. I try to show you FLIR footage of these things because when you have a sauna that doesn't have a calf heater, doesn't have sidewall heaters, doesn't have a floor heater, right? You start taking things away. You start taking heat coverage away from the body. Like I've had saunas in the graveyard that just had heaters across the back. What do you think happens to the body in your sweat session and your ability to support detox if you have inadequate heat coverage? It's not going to make a damn bit of difference what micron range, CMR, fancy graph. You could spend $20,000 on the stupid thing. It's not going to make a damn bit of difference at all, at all, at all. Why? Because you're unevenly heating the tissues, you're unevenly contributing to vasodilation, you're unevenly able to stimulate the body with a hyperthermic response, okay? Which means if you cannot get hyperthermic response from radiant heat to the tissues, this is the most important thing that I've ever said. If you're not paying attention to anything else, pay attention to this. If you're unable to get radiant heat to the tissues, right? You will still drive hyperthermic response, but you will be dependent on convection. You will then be dependent on air temp. It will then be a situation of what you happen to deal with in a traditional sauna. What is that? You can only have air temp at your disposal. Unless you have a wood burner that's been heating up for an hour and a half and the wood and steel and everything else emits infrared. People don't understand this. The whole point of infrared is to elicit this response evenly over the body. Heat coverage is what does that, right? So I'm a proponent of loving saunas that have great heat coverage. Just 2 months ago, we tested a Costco sauna. I sat in it. My legs don't sweat from the knee down, right? Just 3 months ago, we tested an Amazon sauna. Same damn price, same shitty build quality, same things I don't like, same this, same that, yet I'm sweating in a 65-degree room in that sucker. Is it low EMF, low VOC? No. Are there threads hanging out of it and some furring strips on the walls and some other stupid shit that looks terrible? Absolutely. Yep. It's not something I would pick if I had my choice. But I tell you what, nothing on this planet, no micron range, no emissivity, no amount of price, no amount of me liking it, hating it, doesn't make a difference. No amount of anything will make the Costco sauna compete with that. It can't, right? It absolutely cannot, okay? So missing this bottom half, not having heat coverage here, is doing what? Is doing what, right? You are limited to convection in order to heat this portion of the body. You're not able to deliver radiant heat to this portion of the body because why? You have inadequate heat coverage. I don't give a shit if you have the best emissivity rating on the planet from these heaters. It doesn't matter if it's a $15,000 sauna. You are not actually transmitting the energy, the far infrared energy, to the body in the appropriate places, in the right doses, for the right amount of time. So what? That portion of the body is being left out. That portion of the body then can only experience hyperthermic response, aka sweating, heat therapy, right? Doesn't matter what it is. It can only experience that if the sauna heats up enough in order to drive heat to that area via convection. Because there's no exposure, right? There's nothing. It's not there, it's not present. So it's not possible. So all these other things go out the window. Why? Because they just don't matter. They can't. You'll never make up for the body lacking in heat coverage. It's one of the most important things ever. There's no marketing report for it. There's no, know this, know that, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Last thing I'm going to leave you with. There's a bench in here. There's a heater on the calf thing. There's a heater in the floor. There's little side heaters here. There's a heater in the sidewall. Hell, some of the saunas even have a heater in the bench, right? I'll just do this so you see infrared wavelengths coming, like you get the idea. Everywhere there's a squiggly line is infrared emitter, right? And then you'll have some heaters across the back. You'll have people that say, oh, they shouldn't go up above the head. Some other people will say, oh, you have to have it above the head, da 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 da. They both work. I like above the head because it soothes tight neck and muscles a little better, heat, but doesn't really matter. It's not that detrimental of a thing. What is detrimental though, if you look at something like this on one of my FLIR gun videos, right? It comes over the screen and it shows you Let me just make it so we can see this real quick. What you're gonna see is the throw, right? You're gonna see an even throw from all these heaters, projecting radiant heat out into what? The seated body position. So we're wrapping the entire body in infrared, right? If you do a good job at that, you absolutely will get the benefits from using the sauna. You can have a cheap sauna. It can be the wrong emissivity. It can be the wrong, micron range. It can be less than ideal this, less than ideal that. The only thing that you can't do is switch from far infrared to some mid infrared. I see people out there with some patio heater saunas. Patio heaters are a wonderful tool to assist in preheating the sauna or getting the convection a lot hotter, but it's not, I repeat, it is not a replacement for far infrared coverage. Why? Because underneath your skin, the way your cells and tissues, the way they vibrate doesn't react the same if you change the wavelength. So you need far infrared for a certain depth of penetration and a certain excitability in this particular instance. So you have a far infrared heater that's penetrating. If you change the wavelength on these, that goes away. I shouldn't say it goes away. You're altering it in a way that is less than ideal, right? Now you're talking about, hey, we're losing benefits. Now, different types of frequencies matter. But as long as we're talking about far infrared, heat coverage is ultimately going to determine the outcome and experience of your sauna session. So I'm gonna stop that here. I think that's been way too much, but I wanna know if you have any questions. Hopefully Aaron can help me make these videos so they're a little easier to see. Hopefully this can be zoomed in on and you guys can really understand what's lacking in the marketing reports, what's lacking in the information, and you can make informed decisions. So we'll see you in the next one.